Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another fact of the day. Now, this flag looks a bit funny because the left-hand side of it is black, so it looks like there's a lot of black on the left there, but can you name this flag? You might not have come across it before, very, very tricky, but a massive well done. If you said Belgium, right, we're going to be looking at something that happened in Belgium quite a while ago. 205 years ago, almost to the day that this famous thing happened. And it happened in a place called Waterloo, which is a little village just south of the capital of Belgium. The capital city is called Brussels, and a little village called Waterloo. Something very famous happened. You might know it already. Probably one of the most famous battles in the world. And it is the Battle of Waterloo. Hey, quite easy. The Battle of Waterloo. Very, very famous. And if it was 205 years ago, that means it happened in 1815 on the 18th of June. So almost exactly 205 years ago. So as you can see, it was a very, very big battle, very important battle, and we'll find out why. Here's a picture I found of what's called a reenactment, when people dress up and kind of reenact it for big crowds to see what it could have looked like. Obviously, they don't hurt each other or anything. It's just acting, but it gives you an idea of what they. This is the British part of the army, what they would have looked like 205 years ago. You can see these very scary looking knives at the end of these muskets here, these old guns. So if the enemy was too close by the time you could reload the gun, just use that big knife at the end. Right, well, let's find out exactly where Belgium and Waterloo is. That'll be a good start. And it's not too bad. If you can find France on here, that would be good. Remember, if you're struggling with France, start with us here. Go across the English Channel, and you're in France. There is France. And just at the top of France, a little country here, that is Belgium. And I will just zoom in to Waterloo so you can see it. There we go. It's almost right in the middle. And there we have Waterloo. And actually right here, you can see a big monument that is there to commemorate, to remember the great battle that was once there. Right. Let me go back to the PowerPoint here. Okay. So, how did this happen? Why was there a great battle at Waterloo? Well, France, just before, about 20 years before, was ruled by a king. And this is the king at the time. This was King Louis the 16th. But people weren't happy. People weren't happy at all with the king's rule. And in fact, they resisted. There was a revolution where people took up arms. They grabbed their guns and they went and they said, "We've had enough of this. We don't want a king anymore." And they overthrew the king and they actually had him killed. They killed the king, the people of France. And after that, there was years of unrest. There was lots of blaming and lots of people wanting to try and get the top position. How were things going to work if there wasn't a king? But out of all this unrest and confusion, one man rose to the top, took power, and crowned himself not king, because nobody wanted a king anymore. He crowned himself emperor of all of France. And his name was Napoleon Bonaparte, commonly known as just Napoleon. And here he is. And he had a dream that France would rule over pretty much all of Europe. He wanted a massive French empire. Obviously, the rest of Europe didn't want that, but it was quite difficult to resist him because France was incredibly powerful, and he was a very gifted leader. He was very good at tactics and stuff. I think he would have been a good chess player. So anyway, that's what he wanted, and there was lots of battles. He won lots of victories, but he made a bit of a mistake. So this is him wanting the French Empire over all of Europe. He made a mistake, though. He went to fight Russia, but accidentally got caught out in a Russian winter. So many of his troops died and weakened his forces considerably. He was defeated by Europe, by the armies of Europe, and they sent him in exile, which means they sent him off to live on an island for the rest of his life. Don't you come back. Don't even think about coming back. You live on this island, you stay there. Okay. And that island was called Elba, just near Italy. I did look at it earlier. Elba, the island of Elba. So we'll zoom out of Belgium, and just next to Italy, here is the island of Elba. So that's where he was, and Napoleon hated it there. He hated it. He was emperor of the French Empire, and he's been sent to this tiny little island to live out the rest of his days in shameful defeat. I'll just zoom out here so you can see exactly what it is. So there is Italy, there's the Alps, and there's the island of Elba. So anyway, not long after he was sent there, he escaped. Okay, he escaped. Oops. He the start. Oops. Where am I? Here. Yeah. So he escaped. He raised his army because there was a lot of people in France who still believed in him. There was a new king, had been crowned by that point, but he legged it. He was out of there when Napoleon showed up. He left the country, fled. So Napoleon crowned himself emperor once again. Got his army together. Europe got their army together, and they met at Waterloo. So this was it. This was Napoleon's last stand. If he won this fight, he was more than likely going to achieve his dream of a large French empire. But if he lost, well, that was it. I don't think there was any coming back from that. And indeed, he did lose. He lost this battle, and the other leader of the all these different European countries came together to defeat him. Britain, the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, another country at the time that doesn't exist anymore called Prussia. They came all together, and they were led by this man, the Duke of Wellington. You may have heard of him. He is what Wellington boots are named after, wellies, because he wore boots that looked exactly like Wellington boots, so they were named after him, Wellington boots. So this is the Duke of Wellington. He was roughly the same age as Napoleon, had a load of victories. Both of them would have been very confident, but he came out on top. He won the Battle of Waterloo. So Napoleon was defeated once and for all, and they sent him even further away. They sent him here to an incredibly remote island called St. Helena. And we'll just go and find out where that is in the world. Let's zoom right out. So this is where they sent him before. So it's not far away from France. Here's France right here. Not far away from anything, but they decided, we're not going to send him there again. He escaped very, very quickly. We're going to send him much, much further. And they sent him way, way down here in the Atlantic, in the South Atlantic Ocean. I will just get the computer to do it a lot quicker than me. Oh, we don't want Elba. I would like St. Helena, please. There we go. And look at that. It is in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean, and he never managed to escape from that island. He hated it. He absolutely hated it. But that is where he spent the rest of his life, exiled on St. Helena. So there we go. And if you look down here, you can actually see where it is down at this globe. It's way down near the south of Africa. Very, very remote. You don't get much more remote in the middle of nowhere than that. So that's it. That's it for you. The Battle of Waterloo was in 1815, and it was a defeat for Napoleon by the Duke of Wellington. So a question could be, where did the Duke of Wellington defeat Napoleon? Oh, that was the Battle of Waterloo. Who defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo? Oh, that was the Duke of Wellington. Where did Napoleon live out the rest of his life after he lost? St. Helena. So very, very good. There's one more little thing I found out when, because I didn't know much about St. Helena, so I had a wee look. I'm just zooming out. My computer's quite slow today, sorry about that. I found out one more thing about St. Helena. There you go. Well, we need to flip it around a bit. That doesn't look right. There we go. Look at that. You don't get much more remote than that. Wow, that's incredible. One more cool thing about St. Helena, and it is about this guy. This tortoise is called Jonathan. Oh, Jonathan, big tortoise. And he is the oldest living land animal on Earth. There's no animal on land that is older than him. And he lives on St. Helena. And he is about 188 years old. 188 years old. Really, really old. He wasn't actually there when Napoleon was there. He was brought to the island actually much, much later on in 1882. But that is where he lives. He's still living there today, happily wandering about the grass there. So I thought you'd like that. That's Jonathan, the oldest living land animal, living on St. Helena, the same island where Napoleon Bonaparte spent the rest of his life after his defeat at Waterloo. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed that one, and we'll see you next time. Bye.